Welcome to Celestial Insights, a weekly podcast that brings the stars down to earth. I'm your host, astrologer, coach, and intuitive Celeste Brooks. My purpose is to provide practical, unique, and insightful guidance to help you navigate the energies of the week like a boss. Hello, this is Celeste of Astrology by Celeste, and on this episode, I will discuss the astrology for the week of June 1st, 2025. First, let's take a look back at the astrology in action. The title of each episode is a prediction about a story that is going to come up during the week. And if you see stories that relate to the titles of the episodes, please feel free to send them to me at celeste@astrologybyceleste.com if you want to email, or you can DM me, preferably on Instagram. And last week, it was called The Parallax View. And that was a movie where a journalist witnessed a political assassination. Saturn entered Aries, the sign of its fall, on Saturday, May 24th. And on Sunday, May 25th, we got our first story, at least the first one I saw. And on that day, Mercury in Gemini was sextile Saturn in Aries. Sextiles are opportunistic, and Saturn rules the authority. Saturn limits and controls. It's the stern teacher, and it's in the sign of Aries, which is the sign of its fall. And Mercury rules the hands, and Gemini rules students. Emmanuel Macron is the president of France, and he's married to a woman who is 25 years older than him and was his school teacher. And he arrived in Vietnam on Sunday, the 25th, and the door of the plane opens, and then we see his wife's hand come out of the side. You don't see her face, but you see her hand, and she pushes him in the face. Like, she's clearly angry, and she pushes him in the face, and then he just steadies himself, and then she comes out, and they both start walking down the plane stairs. And Gemini also rules transportation, so an airport is a Gemini place. They walk down the stairs, and he tries to give her his arm, and she won't take it. So they're clearly in a conflict, and he looks weak because he got pushed in the face by his wife, who's his stern teacher, and it's a big scandal. And I'm sure people in France are still talking about it. But this is a Saturn and Aries story. People lose faith in their leaders for various reasons. And one of them can be they look weak. He literally was emasculated in some sense. Now, I view this as some kind of spousal abuse that we've seen on the world stage. And it was shocking. Mercury was separating from a conjunction with Uranus, which rules shocks and surprises, and then sextile Saturn in Aries, which is Saturn controls. So there was this shocking event where his wife showed a sense of control over the leader of France. Now, Macron later called it playful, but it didn't look very playful. It was a political assassination of sorts, and with Venus in Aries, essentially, he was assassinated. Aries rules conflict and violence by his love partner, Venus. Last Monday, May 26th, we had a new moon in Gemini, and new moon seed new stories. Gemini rules students. The United States administration announced that they were not going to be issuing any more student visas for overseas students who want to come to the U.S. to attend college until they figure out how they want to vet the people who are coming by investigating their social media, which is also a Gemini topic because Gemini is an air sign. Air communicates and connects, and on social media. A day or so later, the administration announced that they were going to be expelling Chinese students from the U.S. who they deem a threat to the country. So that's another big story that we will see continuing throughout the lunar cycle.
Your cosmic advantage begins with the Wise Skies digital calendar. With descriptions for every planetary and lunar event, all levels of astrology enthusiasts can enjoy the calendar on any device and now in many languages. With this superpower in your back pocket, you will be fully equipped to understand the astrological weather any day of the week. My good friend and collaborator, Tiffany Herlick, creates this calendar every year and I use it daily. I highly recommend it. Use my coupon code for $10 off. The code is ABC2025. Let the universe have your back with the Wise Skies digital astrology calendar.
The theme of this week is farewell to arms, and there are three big things I want you to think about as you navigate this week. The first is that we have a first quarter moon at 12 Virgo. Virgo is mutable earth. Its job is to bring order to chaos. High road Virgo is of service. It is orderly, precise, and takes a lot of information or whatever and can sort it into appropriate categories. Now, shadow Virgo energy is perfectionistic, overly critical, obsessive compulsive, and controlling. So really notice what is happening over this time where you may be seeing both high road and low road Virgo energy showing up in the collective and in your own life. And the sun is in Gemini at 12 Gemini, squaring the moon in Virgo. They're both ruled by the planet Mercury, and Mercury is in its home sign of Gemini. So this is a really wonderful energy to bring order to chaos. Do you need to do decluttering? This is a wonderful week for writing or speaking with impact, where you can be very clear and concise and powerful with what you're saying. The sun at 12 Gemini corresponds to the Nine of Swords tarot card. So this is the nightmare and anxiety card. It's a good time to consider, are the things that are worrying you, are they real, or are they you just projecting what you think is coming into the future and it may not actually come to pass? The Sabian symbol is a world famous pianist giving a concert performance, which gives themes of someone who is really good at what they do, capturing attention and people watching and appreciating it. The moon at 12 Virgo corresponds to the Nine of Pentacles tarot card. This is the independent lady card of the tarot deck, which speaks to enjoying the harvest that you have created for yourself. So if there are, let's say, money worries, what can you do to maybe increase your income could be something that people are considering. Or how can you reduce expenditures? Or gather resources with other people can be another thing that people are considering. A powerful statesman overcomes a state of political hysteria. This gives themes of reining in people or someone speaking some clear truth that helps people have some calmness about what's going on. The two of these together bring back memories for me of 2020 when the COVID crisis hit. New York City in the United States was one of the places that had the biggest impact. And every day for a while, the governor of New York at that time was Andrew Cuomo. And he would come on and do these press conferences where he was giving information. It was impactful. It helped people calm down. It was like a virtuoso performance, and these press conferences were watched around the world. He showed amazing strength of leadership. Now, there were scandals that took him down about what was going on in nursing homes, as well as he got caught up in a scandal where he was accused of sexual harassment. And so he had to step down from his position. He's actually running for New York City mayor. So it will be interesting to see if he is elected because he's an amazing leader, but he has some failings as a human being and he got caught up and pushed out. But he helped overcome a state of political hysteria because people didn't know what was going on. If you watched the White House's press conferences, you got a lot of gobbledygook, in my personal opinion, from the president, and it did not help me at all calm down. But watching Governor Cuomo really helped bring some calmness into a state of the unknown. This also gives themes of if your relationship is giving you anxiety, you may leave it. With the sun square the moon, these first quarter moons are times of action. And it may not be a love relationship. It could be a friendship, or it could be a news source that every time you read it, they just make you feel like, oh my God, what is happening? The world is falling apart. Yeah. Or you may feel like you need to limit your time on social media because it's leaving you feeling anxious. I must say, I was gone for about 10 days. So my intake of news and things was really reduced, and I feel a huge sense of calmness. Now, this part of this is Saturn leaving Pisces and moving into the sign of Aries because I have Saturn on my sun, so its transits really impact me personally. The last degrees of Pisces was a little bit overwhelming. But yeah, really consider what information with the two signs that are ruled by the planet Mercury being in conflict with each other, what information sources give you anxiety. Hopefully not the Celestial Insights podcast. My goal is to help you understand the time we are in and be able to use astrology for yourself. I consider myself a teacher who helps you see what's going on and understand it from your own point of view. Now, I do talk about some things that are difficult, but hopefully my goal is to help, not just make you feel like the sky is falling. Now, Gemini rules the lungs, the hands, and the shoulders, and that's where the sun is moving through. So protect them. Now, the episode is called Farewell to Arms because I have a feeling that, and this is an intuition, that something is coming about gun ownership in the United States. And will the administration put in some new rules where they say that the social media of people needs to be reviewed before they're allowed to have a weapon? Now, this is an intuitive hit. It may not happen this week or, frankly, ever, but there was a press conference with the president and Pam Bondi, who is the attorney general, where he just said one sentence, but it was about limiting firearms. And it was a couple of months ago. And then we haven't heard anything since. There's been mostly loosening of the restrictions on weapon ownership, but we shall see. This could also be like a big contract for weapons is canceled or denied with Saturn in Aries. Hopefully, it is that we will see some people decide to stop fighting and put down their weapons. That would be wonderful. The lunar phase families are 27-month cycles where the moon will be in hard aspect with the sun every 9 months, and there could be a story that has continuation points throughout the cycle. These are also great for setting intentions. So 9 months ago, we had a new moon in Virgo, where the sun and the moon were both at 11 degrees of Virgo on September 2nd, 2024. Look back in your journal. What story was seeded around that time? And you can give 2 weeks on either side. Look to what house you have Virgo in. Now we have a first quarter moon where the sun is in Gemini and the moon is in Virgo, both at 12 degrees. So the moon is at approximately the same degree on June 2nd, 2025. Is there something that happens now that is a continuation of that story that happened 9 months ago? 9 months from now, there'll be a full moon where the sun is in Pisces and the moon is in Virgo, both at 12 degrees on March 3rd, 2026. This will actually be a lunar eclipse, so all will be illuminated about something, maybe that began 18 months ago at that new moon on September 2nd. The last quarter moon of this phase, where the sun is in Sagittarius and the moon is in Virgo, both at 9 degrees on November 30th, 2026. What lessons did you learn about what came before? The next thing that I want to make you aware of is that Venus, the planet of love, beauty, and harmony, it rules money, resources, and our values, will enter its home sign of Taurus from June 5th to July 4th. When a planet is in the sign of its home, it can do what it does with ease. And what Venus does is magnetize. It provides blessings. It harmonizes. It balances. Now, as soon as Venus moves into Taurus, the first thing it does is it starts to square Pluto in Aquarius, which is retrograde. So they are moving towards each other, which is called mutual application by square, and squares are tense. Pluto is retrograde, coming up from the past about corruption that impacted lots of people, or some kind of power struggles that are going on. People will be going to the grocery store and starting to see the impact of the trade war and the tariffs that come on again and off again. Now, another Saturn and Aries topic about leaders, people seeing their leaders as weak and ineffectual. Wall Street has started calling Trump's tariffs war taco. Trump always chickens out. So that's another Saturn in Aries. I talked earlier about Macron being pushed in the face by his wife, leading to him losing respect, and people are losing respect for Trump, who previously were happy about him being the president because of this nonsensical tariff war that is causing havoc and chaos in the financial markets. But with Venus and Taurus, take time out to engage your physical senses with things that delight you. Maybe you want to get a massage or cook a wonderful meal and just enjoy it. Do nothing but enjoy the food in front of yourself. Please all your senses: sight, hearing, smell, taste, and touch. Do you want to do some budgeting? Think about the future. Think about how you can grow your resources. Maybe you want to start planting a garden. Buy yourself some fresh flowers or cut some fresh flowers from your yard. These are all things that feel like a celebration of Venus. Love in the afternoon. The last thing I want to make you aware of is that Uranus in Taurus is at 28 degrees of Taurus. So it's entered new territory and it's approaching 29, which is the anaretic degree. The last degrees of the sign are degrees of crisis and decay. And there's something called the terms, which is a form of minor dignity. Dignity is a measure of planetary strength, and it speaks to how effectively a planet can do what it is supposed to do in a sign. Now, I talk a lot about the major dignities, about when a planet is in its home sign or exalted or in detriment or fall. But there are other measures of dignity, and one of them is called the terms, and it splits the signs into 5 pieces. But the last degrees of every sign are ruled by Saturn and Mars, which are the malefics. I like the Ptolemaic terms. There's also Egyptian terms, and you can use Google to find out what the terms are for each sign. And for Taurus, the last degrees are ruled by Mars, which suggests that sudden things have an impact that causes the crisis and decay. So hold on to your hat as Uranus goes through these last degrees of Taurus before it moves into the sign of Gemini. There's going to be unexpected surprises and upheaval, especially it's going to continue of the financial markets and resources. These changes can feel very destabilizing, but when things end, new things are seeded. Some of the news I've seen recently, just today, I was seeing a CEO was talking about how AI is going to replace a lot of low-level white-collar jobs. So people getting right out of college, the jobs that used to be available for them are going to be done by AI. It's so important for people to be thinking about security in your income, which is a Taurus topic, that you want to make sure potentially, if you can, that you're doing something that involves human relationships where you need to be face to face with people in order to get your work done. If you can just do your work from home completely online and never talk to anyone, your job is more likely to be taken away by AI. So just something to think about, especially for younger people who are getting ready to go to college or enter the workforce. How can you secure some stability by having a career that involves doing things where you need to relate to other people? If you are embarking on a new journey, experiencing a major life event, feeling stuck, trying to make a difficult decision, or just looking to make positive changes, astrology can provide life-changing insights. There are several ways to work with me. You can come for a 60 or 90-minute astrology consultation depending on your needs. Engage in longer-term cosmic success coaching where we work together on a 3-month basis to help you overcome blocks, improve your life satisfaction, build better relationships, accomplish your career goals, and understand yourself better using the tool of astrology. Or mystic mentoring if you're an aspiring astrologer and want help with chart analysis techniques. Go to astrologybyceleste.com to check out my offerings. If you have any questions, you can email me at celeste@astrologybyceleste.com. On Sunday, the word of the day is vigilance. We start the week with a Leo moon. And the moon, which rules the people, will meet Mars at 21 Leo. So this suggests that people can be very excited, enthusiastic, angry, clashing, and violence. And Venus meets Chiron on this day at 25 Aries. Keep in mind that you really do not want to be hitting below the belt when you're in a conflict with your Venusian love partner, because there could be wounding. Chiron is the wounded healer. That takes a long time to heal. Now, in the collective, we may be hearing from a wounded or fiery woman telling her story. Is she an athlete? Is she courageous in some kind of way? Aries rules competition. Is she talking about having been wounded or healing in some way? Or is there a couple that you see in a public fight out and about or on social media or in the news? The Leo moon will square Uranus in Taurus. So people can be experiencing some kind of internal desire to break free from something. You could also be awakened to great ideas. Be aware of your surroundings. People's values may lead them to do something a bit shocking. So notice when you see people acting in a shocking way. Like, I just got the image of someone in the middle of the street, like just taking their clothes off and maybe doing some kind of performance art. On Monday, the word of the day is honey. And I got the song Get Down Boogie Oogie by A Taste of Honey in my mind when I was writing this. And bees are a Virgo topic. And on this day, the first quarter moon is at 12 Virgo. So the sun at 12 Gemini, the moon at 12 Virgo. First quarter moons are times of action. There may be a crisis where you need to take action immediately, or something. If something keeps coming to your mind about how you need to do it, really pay attention, because this could be you needing to take action. The sun is our conscious mind, the moon is our subconscious mind, and when they're in square, there's this internal push that is here to help you know what you need to do. Now, on this day, Mercury in Gemini is sesqui-square Pluto in Aquarius. We may hear more about the vetting of student visas from overseas during this time. Now, going back and trying to delete everything you've done on social media is a fool's errand, because you could have liked a post from 5 years ago that is discoverable by the AI. And remember, we saw the 5 tech oligarchs at the inauguration back in January. So the administration is working closely with tech companies to be able to sort people into different categories. And I know I'm on the naughty list, but that is just the way it is. And I'm not going to let myself worry about it. You have no way to go back, and you don't even need to like a post. They can see what you're reading by how long you spend on it. So I am accepting that this is my fate, that I am not someone who is aligned with this administration. And so I am on the naughty list, and that is okay. Now, notice what stories are in the collective when the moon hits the south node, where a bunch of people, there may be something that is revealed, or they're experiencing some kind of drain. Now, I like this first quarter moon in that Venus in Aries is applying by sextile to Jupiter and Gemini. Now, Venus and Jupiter are the benefics. When they are talking, this can be good for us. Now, they're both in the sign of their detriment, so they may not be able to help you that much, but there can be some help. You may ask for a favor from somebody, and they say yes. Venus blesses, Jupiter is benefactors. On Tuesday, the word of the day is SLEIGHT. The moon will square Mercury in Gemini. So the Virgo moon will square Mercury. Students, a Gemini topic may have some tension. I got sleight of hand, the magician. Watch your phone. This could be a pickpocket just comes by and grabs somebody's phone. The Virgo moon will hit the south node on this day at 23 Virgo. Is there a new rule that makes some people feel like they experienced a loss? Whenever the South Node is involved, it's a great day for charity or giving selflessly. Can you be of service? Even if it's just a minor way, like holding the door open for someone who needs help. Maybe it's a mother with a baby in a carriage. Maybe it's an older person. Or maybe you're just being nice to a stranger. The more we can be kind to others, regardless of if we consider them different than ourselves, I feel like the better and more abundant our lives will be. On Wednesday, the word of the day is judicious. The Virgo moon is trine Uranus and Taurus. They're both at 28 degrees. People can be in a state of outrage about something that was lost or about some new rule. The moon will enter Libra at 6:38 a.m. Pacific time. Libra is an air sign. Air signs communicate and connect. It rules one-on-one partnerships. It also rules legal things. So this is the day that Venus and Aries is sextile Jupiter and Gemini, both at 28 degrees of each sign. So we're getting really close to that 29th degree that's anaretic. But there may be a court decision. Libra's the scales. It rules balance. Jupiter rules legal affairs. And for the United States, Venus represents the president and the executive branch because we have a Libra midheaven. There could be a court ruling that makes news. Is it about colleges? Harvard is suing the administration because they're trying to revoke Harvard's ability to host any foreign students, which would greatly impact Harvard's student body as well as their finances because the foreign students pay full price when they come to the college. The administration said that these students needed to go home or transfer to other colleges because they're in a battle with Harvard, because Harvard will not bend the knee. Harvard is being a mythic hero with Neptune in Aries and refusing to submit to some of the administration's demands, which are in conflict with the Constitution from their perspective. So we will see what happens with this conflict. But really notice the news, especially about court cases. And I just got the image of, you could see a Venus person, a woman or a couple in Aries survival mode being helped by a bunch of people holding. Gemini rules the hands and the arms. And with Jupiter and Gemini, like a bunch of people helping pull people in a survival situation, maybe up over like a ledge to help bring them to safety. Now, this could be you're watching a movie and you see this happening. So just notice if you see it or experience the transit on the day of its perfection, which means it's exact. On Thursday, the word of the day is pivotal. The song Leaving on a Jet Plane by John Denver was playing in my head. And on this day, Mercury and Gemini are sextile Mars in Leo, both at 23 degrees. So Mercury and Gemini could be about Students, and Mars rules conflict, and Mars severs and separates. So some students are going to be getting the news that maybe Chinese students that they need to go home came to mind with this energy. Now, you could also see like people in an airport lounge. That's a place of transportation, which Gemini rules, that are arguing with each other. There was some kind of squabble in an airport lounge was an image I got. Mercury on this day will square the nodes. It's a choice point. It's crossroads energy. The south node is in Virgo and the north node is in Pisces. Can you speak and communicate? Mercury rules communication with compassion, Pisces, rather than criticism, Virgo. Venus is now at 29 Aries, carrying the Jupiterian energy. Now, this could be lovers having to say goodbye to each other for some reason, or lovers on the run, Aries. And when Venus enters Taurus at 9:42 p.m. Pacific time, I'm getting Bonnie and Clyde imagery. They go to the bank to take out a bunch of money, because Venus and Taurus are associated with money and wealth and resources. And if you're going on the run because your lover's visa was revoked, yeah, that's the image I'm getting with this. But yay, Venus is in Taurus, the sign of its home, where it can do what it does with ease. So notice if you've been having some conflict with any kind of partnership, things may start to get better. On Friday, the word of the day is powerful. Mercury in Gemini is sextile Chiron in Aries, both at 25 degrees of each sign. This could be a great time to say, I'm sorry for something that you've done that hurt someone. The moon enters Scorpio at 7:22 p.m. The moon does not like to be in the sign of Scorpio. It's the sign of its fall, but it can be a very powerful time to examine your shadows. Scorpio energy is very sexy, and I would recommend not snooping in somebody's phone, because you could get caught with that Chiron and Aries or get your feelings hurt, or on their computer. Mercury and Gemini, sextile Chiron and Aries, gives me the image of someone snooping. It may not give you what you want, or maybe you'll get the awakening and the awareness of something you already knew, which was why you're snooping. We'll have a gibbous moon. The gibbous moon is pregnant with possibilities at 1 Scorpio at 10:56 p.m. Pacific time. Gibbous moons are great times for connection. And with the moon in Scorpio, this can be very sexy. On Saturday, the word of the day is alert. The Scorpio moon will square Pluto in Aquarius. So be alert in situations where you're around a lot of people, is the message I'm getting. Take extra care driving, because speed kills. But I hope you have a wonderful week with Venus and Jupiter talking. There could be a lot of nice stuff and blessings. Pay attention to any blessings you get, no matter how small. So that's it for this week's episode. Feel free to email me at celeste@astrologybyceleste.com with any astrology in action stories, or if you see the title, Farewell to Arms, please send it to me. Take care, and I'll catch you next week.
Thank you for listening to Celestial Insights. To learn more about my work, please visit my website, astrologybyceleste.com, where I offer personal readings, horary consultations, cosmic coaching, group events, and classes to help guide people to higher levels of fulfillment. You can also find me on Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, and Facebook at Astrology by Celeste. If you enjoyed Celestial Insights, please help others find the show. Follow, rate it 5 stars, or write a nice review. I would so appreciate it. I'm astrologer, coach, and intuitive Celeste Brooks, and I'll be back next week.